everyone to please settle down. Good evening and a very warm welcome to the Bangalore Toastmasters Club. I know it is difficult to brave Bangalore traffic, and especially on a Friday evening, so thank you everyone for making on time, and for that we can give ourselves a big round of applause. My name is Amrit, and I am the acting Sergeant at Arms. At the Toastmasters, we ensure that our speakers get the maximum focus, and for that we do not want to get them distracted either because of any sound or movement. For that, I request everyone to put their phones on silent. Done? And to avoid any movement distraction, please remain seated during the meeting, and if you have to enter or exit the hall, then please do so when you hear an applause. In addition to our speakers, we also give equal importance to our audience, and we do not want to hurt any of their sentiments. To do so, I request all speakers to avoid talking about sex, politics, and religion. Are we all on the same page?
Yes.
Excellent. Now, I am going to introduce you to someone who, by profession, is working in labor management. That does not mean he manages labor of women, but he manages labor laws for different industries. So he's a consultant for labor laws. Now, I always wonder that in his presidential speeches, he's extremely impeccable with his details. He remembers all the places and dates and names and all the minute details. And is it just me who has wondered, or anyone who has experienced that? Yeah? Great. So I figured it out only when I spoke to him that as part of his role, he's supposed to read a lot and keep himself updated about all the judgments or the laws that have been passed around how to manage labor or employees in an organization. He does not just read and update himself, he has to remember all that information. So, no wonder that his job has made him a pro in remembering all and every minute details. Now, I can keep talking about him as much as I want, but I think it's time that I shut my mouth and open my ears and to listen to him. So I invite the impeccable president of Bangalore Toastmasters Club, Jones Paul.
Thank you, Amrit, for that wonderful introduction. Now, I'm not sure whether I should really shut my mouth, because when I open my mouth, I hope I live up to the expectations. Thank you very much. Good evening, dear Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
A wonderful welcome and a warm welcome to Bangalore Toastmasters Club. I call to order meeting number 1456. The minutes of the previous meeting, meeting number 1455, was uploaded by our secretary on the group, and I now request our secretary Toastmaster Prakarsh to please share some highlights of the meeting. Please withhold the applause till the minutes is passed.
Good evening, dear members and guests.
Good evening.
Last meeting, meeting number 1455, held on 22nd November 2024. There were 28 members and 9 guests present during the meeting. The theme of the meeting was imitation is limitation. The word of the day was emulate, meaning to match in order to surpass. The best speaker went to Toastmaster Anirudh Jatangi. The best evaluator went to Toastmaster Shreya Sadugol. The best role taker went to Toastmaster Vaidyanathan Duraisamy. And the best tag team player went to Toastmaster Aman Isani. And the best table topic speaker went to Toastmaster Ganesh. To know more, visit our YouTube channel, Bangalore Toastmasters Club.
Members, are the minutes of the meeting in order?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The minutes of meeting number 1455 stands passed. I see some guests amongst us. Can I please request them to rise? All the guests. Yes, thank you very much for joining us here today. And I'm sure that you will all have a great time today and a lot of learnings. Thank you very much, and please take your seats. And committee members, can you please rise? Yes, we have some of our committee members here. We would guide you on joining Toastmasters and other information regarding the Toastmasters Club and the movement shortly after the meeting. Right? Thank you very much. You may please take your seat. The theme of today's meeting is to do with listening. And in Toastmasters, when we talk about listening, it is not just about surface listening. It is about deep listening that we really intend and speak about. Let me take you back to 1997 in Washington to illustrate how deep and mindful thinking can, and of course accompanied with brilliant thinking. I'm talking about mindful listening and brilliant thinking can bring about a big difference and will do all the talking. A young Indian in his 20s, in fact from a Nama Bengaluru, was seated with one of the legendary CEOs of a multinational company for a discussion of the sale of his company. The company that he started with a partner, Jack Smith, about 2 years before that. Well, he was definitely not intimidated by sitting in front of such a legendary figure. This person had gone through these strategies by the large multinational company to intimidate young investors and entrepreneurs to sell off their stake at a low price. Just before this meeting, 6 executives from that company had flown down from Washington to California to meet these 2 youngsters, and they had discussions after discussions practically every week for the next 2 months. From a few $1 million, the price went up to $140 million. But this youngster did not give up or did not relent. Therefore, they arranged for a meeting with the founder of their company at Redmond, Washington. I'm sure you would have an idea what this is all about. Well, even in that meeting, this youngster did not relent. It went up to $300 million, and he still did not give up. That is when even his investors and lawyers told him that he was crazy. Finally, the deal was sealed at $400 million, which worked out to almost 1,500 crores in Indian money back in 1997. This young Indian I was talking to you about was Sabir Bhatia, and the company that he founded was the email service provider Hotmail. And of course, the large corporation that I was talking to you about was none other than Microsoft and its founder, the legendary Bill Gates. Well, not so bad for Sabir Bhatia, who had landed in Los Angeles airport just 9 years back on a scholarship to study at the California Institute of Technology with just $400 in his pocket and no one that he knew about in USA. Incidentally, Sabir Bhatia was my batchmate in St. Joseph's PU College. Of course, I didn't know him then because he was just one among the thousands of students in the St. Joseph's PU College. Dear Toastmasters and guests, what he demonstrated really illustrates the power of great, deep and mindful listening and what brilliant thinking can achieve. In fact, the whole idea of Hotmail was also born out of deep thinking. He and his partner Jack Smith wanted to exchange ideas on starting new ventures, but they were afraid to do it on the company that they worked for, the emails of the company, and so they devised this platform where they could send emails anonymously from anywhere where they had an internet connection. And in fact, before they arrived for the discussion with Bill Gates, he had done a lot of listening, thinking, and evaluation of his business and that of his partners. In fact, Microsoft had spent $2 billion in building MSN, and it had only 1 million users. But he knew that with 5 million users, they would definitely be willing to pay at least $500 million. And that is the thinking that he had, and that helped him with that listening part. Dear Toastmasters and guests, I think there is no limit to where better listening, better thinking, and better speaking can take you. From ordinary, it has the power to take you from ordinary to being extraordinary. To lead the meeting forward, let me introduce you to a Toastmaster who would never say no to an opportunity where there is learning and progress. In fact, she is an inspiration for me to join the committee of the club. I used to say that I was loaded with a lot of work and used to travel a lot, and therefore it is impossible for me to take up a role in the committee. But this lady had a full-time job as a deputy director at the Bangalore International Exhibition Center. She was a mother to two lovely girls, and that itself is a full-time job. And she used to travel a distance much farther than that I used to be traveling. So it is incredible that she has been able to juggle all these roles and discharge her duties for the committee, not just for 1 or 2 terms, but for 6 terms consecutively, of which the last 2 terms was as the president of the club. Apart from this, the quality that I admire in her the most is that she's one of the most genuine person that I've ever come across. She speaks what she means and means what she speaks. Please join me in welcoming the Toastmaster of the day, the charming, the past president of our club, Toastmaster Anand.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for that lovely, lovely introduction.
We want much more than that.
So put me at great ease and a feel-good factor. A very good evening, my dear fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Let me ask you a riddle. You are riding a bus. So the bus stops in Kant. 4 people get in and 3 people get out. At the next stop, say in Indian Express, 10 people get in, 5 people get out. And then the bus travels to St. Mark's Circle. 7 people get in and 3 people get out. What is the shoe size of the driver?
My shoe size.
Okay, it's same. 8 is 10.
Very good. So did you get I started off with saying you are the driver. So as Toastmasters, we are great listeners. And today's meeting, the theme of today's meeting of 1456, okay, it says 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So you all are around 80 ears and 1 mouth speaking. Listening, I feel, is an important skill which we cultivate. And I would go to an extent of saying that listening would save you at some point. When I started working, I found a person interesting at work. And so I ventured out to going to a cafe with him. The second meeting, he spoke on and on. And then no longer he was that interesting. And so I only evaluation section, where a general evaluator assisted by a team, okay, will assess every role taker who comes in on stage today. Assisting the general manager is a tag team. We call it's mentioned as tag because it's the timer, our counter, and grammarian. So I'll quickly ask the tag team to introduce itself. The timer role is taken by Toastmaster Varun Chakan. Request you to kindly explain your role as a timer.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So today's theme, 2 years and 1 mouth, and everyone knows we need to listen more and talk less. It encourages us to take a moment, take a pause, and listen, and then contemplate and then respond. So as a timer, I'll be responsible to record the time of this meeting, of course, and today's meeting. The time for today's meeting will be from 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I will be holding up the green card. At 6, the yellow, and at 7, the green red card. And for table topics, the time is 1 to 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I hold up the green card. At 1.5, the yellow card. And at 2, the red card. Speakers, be aware that you will be given 20 seconds grace period. I'll share the report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Varun. The second tag team player, the R counter, is played by a principal managing the business intelligence team at IQVIA. He loves to do the DIY projects. Request Toastmaster Sri Shakti to please explain your role.
Good evening, everyone. As our counter, I'll be listening carefully to the use of local pauses and crutch words like and any repetitive words. I'll keep a track of every one and I'll report it at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
The role of the grammarian is taken by a young Toastmaster. He says the quality he's proud of his most is going with the flow, while still being able to roll up his sleeves and put in the effort when necessary. Toastmaster Kenneth, request you to please explain your role.
In the words of Muhammad Katani, words have power, words are power, and words can be your power. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters and your guests.
Good evening.
As the grammarian of the day, I'll have my ears wide open, listening to you and taking note of both improper and exceptional verbiage. I'm also obliged to share with you the word of the day, which is contemplate. It essentially means to think deeply and carefully about something. An example of its usage is, I spent all night contemplating how I slept all day. I encourage everyone to use the word of the day and I'll provide my grammarian report along with a number of times the word of the day was used at the end of the meeting when called upon by the general evaluator. Back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you to the tag team for explaining their roles clearly. We now move on to the first segment of this evening's meeting, which is the prepared speeches. Now, before I introduce to you the first speaker, I'd like to introduce to you the evaluator. Now, since he's a well-traveled gentleman, I asked him what his advice would be to young
Toastmaster is attempting his level 2 project 3 from dynamic leadership, and the purpose statements I see here are for the member to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. And the purpose of the speech is the member to share some aspect from a previous experience as a protege. The time allowed to the 7 minutes. Good luck to the speaker.
Thank you, Vijay Gangaadhar. The first speaker is working as a cybersecurity manager in Wells Fargo, one of the top US banks. He's interested in understanding and reading about what impact of AI is going to be in the next decade for humanity. On asking him what is he most proud of being a Toastmaster, he said, meeting so many talented public speakers in PTMC, and that's what he's really proud of. The speaker is attempting his Project 3 Level 2 of Dynamic Leadership with the title, Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. Standing on the Shoulders of Giants, Toastmaster Srinivas.
Hello? Yeah, hello. Hello. Is it better? Yes.
Yeah, much better.
Okay. Hello? Sir Isaac Newton once said that if I have seen further in life, it's because of standing on the giants. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests.
Good evening.
Before I started my journey in Toastmaster, I was very skeptical on taking stage and do any presentation in office. I used to get goosebumps. That is one of the reasons I decided to join Toastmaster. Having joined Toastmasters, one of the reason was to improve my public speaking. And there I met a very special person in my life who was a giant, who empathized with me and removed the fear of public speaking. That person is none other than the past VP Education, Priyanka Ranwar. She, and as you can see the popularity of Priyanka, I was also honored by her presence when I came over here. One thing was by the icebreaker. I was little hesitant and I had my dry runs with her. She told, "You are very fast, hardly anyone can grasp that." So, and she helped me structure my first speech. I vividly remember that day, the standing ovation which I got. For the guests, I'm just clarifying, it's like first speech when you give, everyone stands, but that is a marvelous experience when you get it. Fast forward, 2 months later, I got an opportunity where Priyanka motivated me to go for speech contest. Imagine a scenario where I was just 2 months. And how can I participate in a speech contest? I had my self-doubt, obviously. You can see. Then she told, "Come on, Srini, go for it." I thought, like in office, anyone says, "Go for it." I thought, that's the difference which that giant created. She not only concentrated on me and gave feedback feedback, we conducted the Zoom classes to participate in this contest. Not just for me, all the newbies who have joined with us. And that's the time where I got introduced to my current mentor, Dr. Rajdeep Manwani. Like all of you, I was a big fan of Rajdeep Manwani because the persona which he has on the stage, the way he wins the speeches and awards every week, I used to get fascinated by it. Every day. Still, I am not one. I'm still passionate about winning it. So, that's one thing which I speak about Rajdeep sir was the persona which he creates. Ultimately, fast forward, when I took my second speech, considering I was a mentor of Rajdeep sir, I had to win. That's the ego in me, right? To prove the point. But it didn't go as well as planned. That evening, after the meeting, I was a little sad that I didn't win the voting contest. Then, silently, Rajdeep sir said, can you drop me home? I thought, okay, that may be some harsh feedback. Let's see. Then, I took him while driving back. He kept his shoulder on my hand. Shoulder. On that day, he said, don't worry about these awards. See, when I started, even I was like you. That's what I saw. And I said, yeah. Then he gave me the one great lesson which I want each one of you to remember. Don't compare someone's ending with your beginning. that's what he told me that day. By dropping him home, he told me, last one thing, believe in process rather than running behind these awards. But that day I was literally spending okay. So I said good night to him, and then while driving back home, I was contemplating on what Rajdeep sir has told me. Ultimately, that's one of the reasons I come to this BTM and stand in front of you every Friday and take up the roles which she provides me. That's what the impact has been created. With these two incidents in my life which had a high impact, I would like to say, first gave me the courage to face where Priyanka Ranore got involved. And the second thing is the empathy which I badly needed to face the crowd like you. With this, one thing was sure, even this speech is been mentored by Rajdeep Manwani. Right? So that confidence, all these things have come because of him. So I am so immensely grateful to you. But one thing to all of you, very important. What is very important which they taught me, the giants in my life? Great minds discusses about ideas. An average mind discusses about events. And small minds discusses about people. Ultimately, it's your choice whom you will choose as a great mind or a great giant who can help you achieve your dreams and conquer it.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Srinivas. I really, really hope that your end is as great as and normally BTM Vijayan Priyanka and DTM Rashi. Moving on, the second speech, the evaluator for the second speech, she works in Nokia and she's our immediate past president and she holds a lot of credits in the Toastmasters fraternity, including being an area director last year. Toastmaster Priyanka requested to please read out the guidelines for the second speech. Thank you.
A very good evening to all. The target speaker is attempting pathway presentation mastery, level 1 project 3, researching and presenting, which is the old module. The purpose of the project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. Timer, please note the speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priyanka. Our second speaker has been in Toastmasters for over 2 decades. He is a retired executive of a nationalized bank and is presently looking after a coffee estate. He's fond of reading, listening and playing music. His take on today's meeting theme is that listen carefully to imbibe what is interesting and speak only when you feel people around can absorb what you say. As the evaluator mentioned, the speakers are attempting his project 3 in level 1 of presentation mastery with the title, Is Imagination Everything? Is Imagination Everything? Toastmaster Richard D'Souza.
Srinivas.
Yes. Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. Albert Einstein once said, imagination is greater than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, but imagination can take you anywhere. On another occasion, he said, logic can take you from A to B, but imagination can take you anywhere. So, Toastmasters, do you endorse the views of Albert Einstein?
Yes.
Very good, I too, but with certain reservations. No doubt, knowledge is limited, but imagination is limited by the capacity of the imaginer to visualize. Imagination is that power which creates scenarios in the mind by asking the question, what if? And that have led to stupendous discoveries, innovations and inventions which have contributed to the ease of living of human beings throughout the world. There was a company manufacturing footwear, and they identified Fastway, a place in African country as a potential market, and they sent their representative. The representative visited and told, here everyone is barefooted, no one wears footwear. We can't teach them to wear footwear, so there is absolutely no chance of selling the footwear. Crestfallen, the company sent another representative who said, yes, it's true, everyone is barefooted. We can teach them wearing footwear and we can sell tons and tons and tons of footwear here. The observation of the first representative was knowledge, and that of the second representative was imagination. Imagination comes handy when knowledge ceases to help. Today, the world is called as a global village. How it happened? Because of industrial revolutions. And why industrial revolutions happened? Because of labor exploitation. During first industrial revolution, muscle power of humans and animals were replaced by machines. Mechanization was called. During second industrial revolution, because of the advent of steam from coal, cheap electricity, manufacture of capital goods, and more than anything else, the explosion of transportation by 4Ws, wheels, vehicles, water, and wind, pushed the periphery of the market to the farthest end of the world. Even a landlocked country like Switzerland was able to sustain and prosper by manufacturing and exporting wristwatches. But Toastmasters, do you believe that knowledge is the second fiddle of imagination? Not at all. Knowledge is acquired by learning and practicing. A person without knowledge is just like a rudderless boat drifting in the ocean. Knowledge provides skills, clues, and tools for fructifying one's dreams. But passive imagination is of no help to anyone. Whoever wants to achieve the thoughts of his mind which are disrupting, he must be contemplating. He must be thinking over the matter time and again, and once for all, as much possible, he should be engrossed in those thoughts. Archimedes jumped out of his bathtub naked, shouting, "Eureka! Eureka!" That means, I found out. I found out. Yes, he had found out what he was looking for. A management student was asked, "You tell the core difference between a manager and a leader." That boy replied, "Manager is implementing best practices, whereas a leader scouts for next practices." I sign off with the words of Sarah and Musset. World needs dreamers. World needs doers. Above all, the world needs dreamers who do. Over to Amrit, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Richard D'Souza, for that very inspiring and informative speech. What I liked about the speech is brought in the circle of life from industrial revolution to Archimedes to a leader and a manager. So thank you so much. Now we move on to the final speech of today. The evaluator for the next speech, he's a professor at
the director of academic research at Sindhi College. He's a motivational and a keynote speaker. He has given 4 TEDx speeches so far, and he firmly believes that his life is filled with a purpose to touch lives and make a difference through his words. He's on a mission to become the world's best motivational speaker, touching the lives of people. Request Toastmaster Sheep to please read the guidelines on behalf of DTM Dr. Rashi Padmanabhan.
Thank you, Toastmaster for the day. I'm standing in for the giant today. The next speaker is attempting his final speech, the level 5 speech from the Pathways Dynamic Leadership. This is his final speech, and the objective of the speech is for the member to reflect and share some aspects of his growth he envisaged during his journey. Time allowed is 10 to 11 minutes, 10 green, 11 yellow, and 12 red. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Sheep. The speaker is an aeronautical engineer, and he's pursuing to join the armed forces. So I asked him, why armed forces? So he says, to serve my country, for a life less ordinary, and the skills and experiences he would learn there are impossible to learn anywhere else. And the camaraderie shared by the members of the armed forces is second to none. The speech title is Progress is Not Perfect. Progress is not perfect. Toastmaster Vishal Vasantha Kumar, all yours.
January of 2020. I was at home scrolling through Instagram reels. My father started banging at my room door and burst in. And he said, Vishal, you need to go to Toastmasters. There's a meeting this evening and you need to be there. Guess what I did? I didn't go. The same thing repeated for a few weeks, and I saw an opportunity. I saw an opportunity to buy a new bike. I told him, you get me a new bike so that I can drive all the way from my college to Toastmasters. Then, and only then, will I attend a meeting. He said, fine. And I luckily got a wonderful bike out of this deal. My plan was clear. I was going to come, attend a few meetings, go back home, tell my father, boss, this is not for me. I don't want to go on stage and give huge speeches. I just want to stay at home and sleep. Little did I know that when I entered those doors, my entire worldview would shift. Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
You may be wondering how I went from this person who just wanted to go home, lay down, to me, who is here 4 years later and reflecting on this wonderful journey. Well, it was simple. It was primarily because our past president, Toastmaster Priyanka, gave me a table topic on my second week here. Mind you, I never made eye contact with anyone when I came for the first meeting. I had a mental map of this entire room because that's the only thing I saw, the floor. And the second meeting I was called on stage and I was asked to speak. I was terrified. I didn't know what to say. And this was the motivator that I needed to join. So I stuck around until COVID hit. And finally, in August of 2020, I became a member and attended the online meetings. Now that I became a member, I took a backseat and went back to the one thing I love to do the most, sleeping. Then I got a call from my mentor, Robinson D'Souza sir, and he said, Vishal, where is your speech? That is the exact moment I wanted to end my entire journey, go back to sleeping. But he didn't let me. Every week I got a message from him. I was in college in a class and I would get a message from him. When are you writing your speech? When are you sending it out for review? I was out trying to chat up some girl in college and I would get a message from him. When are you going to give your first speech? Finally, I wrote a speech and I got it over with. And I thought, chalo, I got a 6 months break. I am not going to do anything else. I am going to go back to sleeping. But then, on that same day, during that meeting, I got an evaluation by Toastmaster Abhay Kotari. And he excellently had a poem to go along with his evaluation. This made me feel great. This made me feel like I was the best speaker in the world. So I said, let me do this again. Finally, COVID was subsiding and we were able to meet in person. I took that up as my opportunity to come on this stage for the first time. I thought, I gave my first speech and I did a stellar job. I'm sure I will do the same thing. Unfortunately, it was the exact opposite. I knew how to give a speech from the comfort of my own room, from the comfort of my own chair. But coming here for the first time, I could feel the shivers setting in. I could feel the sweat starting to bead on my brow. And I could not finish my speech. It was a 7-minute speech and I ended it in 5 minutes, ran and sat. I wanted to get out, go home and sleep. But I was not allowed to. I had to stay for the evaluation. And surprisingly, even when I did such a abysmal job, I got an excellent evaluation. So I thought, why not come back on the stage? However, my self-esteem was broken, so it took me another year. And in 2022, I became serious about finishing my path. That's when I finished college and decided this is the next curriculum that I want to torture myself with. I came on stage every single month. I finished the first level. It was great. I could comfortably come on stage and speak without shivering, is what I thought, but I would shiver, but no one would see me shiver. Then came level 2. This is where I started developing a little more nuance in how I speak. I was taught how to take pauses, how to use voice modulation. Again, I got wonderful feedback and I felt like the best speaker in the world, but I hadn't won a single best speaker award. This started making me doubt myself. And the voice that had always been with me, that kept saying, Vishal, this isn't for you. You cannot speak on stage. You're not good at this. Get off, go home, sleep. But I kept pushing through. And by the time I came to level 3, I won my first Best Speaker Award. I was elated. I was on top of the moon and further up. Then I scheduled my next speech the next month and I got another award for the best speaker. I thought, okay, this must be a coincidence. Let's do this one more time just to be sure. So I scheduled another speech the next month. And guess what? I won the Best Speaker Award 3 times in a row. Now, once is a coincidence. Sorry, once might be an accident. Second time, coincidence. Third time, maybe there's something in me. Maybe I'm good at this. This is exactly the time where other members who were newly joined came up to me and said, Vishal, you speak so well. You make me want to go on stage more often. And I felt great. This is when I entered level 4. And while I was on the quest to quell the voice that was in my head that was telling me, you're not good enough, another voice started to speak. And it got louder and louder. This voice was, Vishal, you're the best in the world. You don't need to practice. You don't need to do anything. Just come on stage. You will win. There's no one who can compete with you. Well, I listened to this person in my head. I came on stage without any practice, and I thought, there is no competition that can beat me. I am the best in this entire world. No one here who can win the Best Speaker Award except for me. But guess what happened, dear audience? Just take a wild guess at what happened.
You won.
I wish. I lost. And I lost 3 times in a row. In my level 4, I didn't win a single Best Speaker Award. And this is when I learned another important aspect. No matter how good you get, no matter how many awards you win, never let that get to your head. Always practice. Always put in the effort. This brought me to my final level. Level 5. I started giving speeches on the stage, practicing well, and I thought, you know what, I'm doing everything right. There's definitely no one who is going to break my confidence. This is the exact time where Priyanka comes into the picture again. She calls me up and says, Vishal, there's a slot for a test speaker in a contest. Would you like to take it up? I said, yes, I'm the best, I can do it. I went there, I saw all these fresh faces, and immediately the shivers were back. And the sweat was starting to bead on my brow again. Now, the challenge was, I was accustomed to this stage, but not other stages. So I took up the decision to give all my level 5 speeches outside the club and become comfortable with standing on any stage, not just this stage. And that got me to here. But is that all that I have learned in this past 4 years? I mean, that's what I've learned on this stage, but what about outside? Well, this 4 years of Toastmasters has helped me in every aspect of my life. When I had to give my project presentation in college, while everyone wanted to finish it up and go sit, I was fighting with the people who were evaluating me because I knew I was right. That confidence I got only because of this stage. When I was in an interview for the Indian Coast Guard and the officer asked me a question, my vision tunneled and I started to sweat. But my mouth started to work without me having to think about it. And I cleared the interview. This is how my journey has been over the 4 years. And it has helped me in every aspect of my life. But there's only one thing that I have learned over the 4 years, and that is progress is not perfect. Just keep going and don't worry about what happens today. Just worry about what happens in the overall picture. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Vishal. I really hope I had a father like you who would buy me a bike whenever I asked. And from bleeding sweat to being over the moon. So quite inspiring your journey has been. We'll now take a short 5-minute bio break, and we'll come in for the next session, for the table topic session. 5-minute break. So the next session is the table topic section. Many detest it, many love it. The host I'm sure the table topic master will explain what the session is all about. The table topic master was a senior program manager with an MNC, but he wanted to shift gears and focus on self a bit, so he's taken a break. He's now an AMFI certified mutual fund distributor, and he's preparing for his registered investment advisor exam. Apart from this, he also works on software development for web applications. But from what I know of him from the stage, whatever he's spoken on the stage, he loves trekking. So I asked him, what is the biggest lesson you learned from trekking? So he says, no matter how far or how tall your objective is, we just need to keep breathing and continue to keep one foot in front of the other. I thought that was a great life lesson too. Please join me to welcome Toastmaster Pradeep Padmanabhan on stage.
Good evening, Toastmasters.
Good evening.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Nice. Had a good break?
Yes.
Refreshing? Yes. Because you're going to need the energy now, huh? Alright, so when we had when you all went to schools, right? There were prepared examinations, quarterly exam, annual exam, and all of that. Very good. That was okay. But then there were spot quizzes. How many of you are well prepared for that? That's where it hit us, right? Suddenly brought to the stage and we said, okay, talk about it. Let's prepare for that. Practice makes perfect. So let's try that. Okay, so to begin with, I'm going to try a few things out. This is the first time for me on stage here. So I'm going to make a few mistakes here and there and that. So let's all learn together, right? So I'm going to call somebody to replicate something like a MasterCard ad. If you've seen this in the past, there's a lot of ads which are about priceless activities, right? Priceless activities or meeting old friends and all that. Some ads can be very creative. And if somebody had to create a very creative ad today, right now, what would it be? To do that, let's welcome the star batsman of our team, Toastmaster DTM Vijay Anand.
Many ads doing the rounds, but the most important ad is with your manager and performance review if you want a better rating. That's the mother of all ads. Mr. Table Master, hello Toastmaster and guests. This gentleman met his manager and he asked, I want a 20% hike. Manager said, are you off your head? People are losing jobs. We are downsizing, right sizing and whatnot. You want 20% hike? People don't even get 5%. So this direct report mentioned, 3 companies are after me. Which company? Manager was stunned. You're an average performer. SBI, Airtel, Bestcom. Bestcom, for those who don't know, Bangalore Electric Supply Company. So the manager was stunned. You, of all the people around the team, you have got 3 offers from these companies. And then they settled for a kind of middle ground and he got a 12% hike. Now you're wondering, what is the ad in this? What the manager didn't know was, Airtel, this dude did not pay his bill for months. That's why Airtel is coming after him. SBI, he had defaulted on 6 payments, his EMIs. SBI comes after him. And Bestcom, shocking, he has not paid his bill. So friends, the master advertisement is the one who can influence or perhaps manipulate your manager and get your work done. Back to the team.
If any of you have a company and want a new ad, that's the man to contact. Alright, so you talked about influencers, sir. I think that's a good trend to go with, right? So many people, social influencers, social media followers and all that. But I'm sure not everything that we see there is real, right? So to talk about the wackiest thing that somebody has seen on social media, let's have Toastmaster Rashi.
Can I just say I don't watch social media because I don't really have an answer for the wackiest thing I've seen on social media. I think everything that we see on social media today is wacky because I mean that's what people are liking right now. No one is liking informative things, no one's liking knowledgeable things, so everything's just cringy, everything's wacky. People are just going out there, putting themselves on live at 3 a.m. and talking and ranting about their life, and I don't know who's awake at 3 a.m. wanting to listen to someone else's life problems when they themselves are stuck in a pile of problems. Like, why would you do that? Aren't you hearing enough negative to go and listen to more negative? So, I don't know. And I think being positive is also wacky on social media because then you're just saying all the things, but then the next minute you're crying saying that it wasn't good enough. I mean, I don't know, and I don't understand social media, and I have heard so many people tell me that maybe I should also go on social media and put myself out there, but I don't want to be wacky, I don't want to be cringy, I don't want to talk about my life problems to everyone because then what's going to be the secret of my life? So might as well not be there and let people know very few things about it. That's all.
To share our life in social media itself is a life lesson. Thank you for that. Okay, so they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Here to do the opposite, basically to paint the picture with 1,000 words, let me welcome Toastmaster Ganesh. Paint the picture for us in 1,000 words.
Paint a picture with 1,000 words. My daughter is an amazing painter, as rather an artist. She's generally impatient, but when she draws, I mean the kind of attention to detail, the way she's lost in her own world, it stuns me. And in that, I see a lot of reflection of myself as well. In a sense, having our own quirks is one thing, but when dealing with a particular thing, how you can get lost in that, devoid of everything happening in and around you, and just immerse yourself. I think that's something I learned seeing my daughter about myself. So I would say a picture is worth 1,000 words, they say, but I think at times when you watch someone, I think it'll, there may not be explicitly spoken, but I guess there's something for you to absorb. So by seeing my daughter that day, I realized, art can actually express something about a person. Back to you.
Thank you for taking us to your living room lively with art. Now, let's switch gears a little bit. We talked about art, and then if we are continuing in the line of art, the next thing that comes to us is a book. If somebody had to write a book, what would that be on? It could be on anything. To tell us what they would write on the book, let's welcome Toastmaster Chaitra.
did in college, which is starting a blog. At that time in college, I was really keen on environmental activism, and I wanted to really put out my views, inspire people to be more sustainable, to live more sustainably, and more importantly, to pressure companies to actually put in the work that would cut down greenhouse gas emissions. So I started this experiment. I was wondering whether I should write anonymously, should I put out my name? And then in the end, I wasn't all that confident in myself. You see, if I'm not that confident to write a blog, there's no way I'm going to write a book, right? So there I was, putting out a pseudonymous blog, and I started. I talked about the different tactics that companies use to greenwash. I talked about little things that companies actually fool you with, right? They say, okay, as an individual, this is what you do to reduce your greenhouse emissions. But then no one asks the question, what are companies doing? They are just, using so much plastic in every level of their, manufacturing of their goods, and it's all wasted. So, if I were to actually collect all my past blog posts, that is something that I might consider putting into a book. And maybe this time I will not put it out pseudonymously. I will actually put my name to it. Back to you.
Look forward to reading that book. All right, next up. All this talk about greenwashing and all that talk took me to another green thing. So, you all know marijuana is something which is very controversial, right? In India, it is totally banned, but in US, in some states, it is allowed, in some states, it is not. Marijuana. Ganja. If we have to legalize it in India and you're in front of the Supreme Court, what would you say? To say that, let's welcome Toastmaster Joel.
Against this. Yeah, so it's actually going against my principles and ideals, so I just tried. So one point I can think of is people who are sometimes people who have struggle sleeping and all. So you can maybe inject a dose of those instead of the sleeping pills, and then help them get better sleep. Yeah. So another thing I can think is people who are afraid to laugh. Maybe you can try that with them and then see and then show them how a little bit of laughter can lighten up their mood and make things go a little crazy. Then the third thing I can think of is that's a good point. Maybe instead of making people, even though it is not legalized, people sell it and then in black markets. So just make it legal so that all the money that we gather from there actually helps the government in some way, and they can make use of all that money.
We have the next economic advisor for India. Good. Now let's get a little lighthearted. I love movies.
I'm sure most of you here do binge in Netflix, right? So, to talk about the best movie climax they've ever seen, let's welcome Toastmaster Srinivas. The story of the monk and the student. A person in life who is struggling hard, feeling what to do next because he's thinking too much in the past and thinking too much in the forward. And whatever my earning, is it going to be sufficient to my family? Is it worth it or not? He's thinking in lots and lots. Suddenly he's decided to see the monk who is currently living on the hills. That day, he not informed anybody. He started climbing the hill. He reached the top. Luckily, he saw the monk meditating under a tree. When the monk opened his eyes, he asked, I came along from downstairs to seek advice from you. How do I control my thoughts? How do I control my thoughts? The monk said few things. You've seen two buckets over there. One is bigger bucket, one is smaller buckets. Fill the water from the bigger bucket to smaller bucket. The person asked, like, the small bucket is too small. It cannot fill the entire water over here. What do I do it? The monk said, contemplate. Grammar, please note, contemplate. Contemplate. He's asking the same thing again, but the monk said, contemplate. Okay, he thought, the monk is saying, let me do it. He started pouring the water to smaller buckets, one by one. His thought for the future, what is going to, whether its ball is going to fill or not, that is secondary. If it's going to fill, that's a future. If it's not going to fill, that's a past. But once he finished his path, he saw it exactly fits in how much water it was there in the big bucket. It's all about your thought. You enjoy the present which you are going in. You enjoy the pathway which you are learning in, rather than thinking too much in the past, thinking too much in the back. This is the end of that movie which I saw recently. Over to you. Last the name of the movie and go back and watch it. Or did he just remake his own read? I don't know. All right.
Two buckets.
Two buckets. Yeah. So name on movies. All right. Just a quick reminder to everybody. There's only 15 seconds of grace period once you see the red card. Okay, so keep that in mind when you come on stage. All right, fine. So moving on. All of you have seen this movie Back to the Future, or at least heard of it. No. If you have not, please meet me after the movie. All right, good. So if it's about time travel, if you have to go on time travel, when and where would it be? To take us on this one time travel, let's invite Toastmaster Mahesh.
With respect to time travel, I think I don't want to be in the future nor the past. I want to be in the present and be at my best. I think being at the present gives you the option to think about your past and see what you have done in the wrong, and it gives you a forward path to go to in the future, right? So it makes sure that your mistakes you don't repeat it. So one of such things was that maybe in my life instance, I was bad at maths in my pre-university or in my school days, but once one of my maths teachers, she told that, and I hated math to core. It was like whenever my parents said math, I used to run away from the house itself. That was the scenario. And in my 9th grade, she gave me an advice that you start loving the subject, and the things gonna happen automatically. And after this, things started happening. I spent hours and hours on maths. No matter what, I didn't like the subject, but I was just sitting on the front of the book, trying to practice in the sums. But after a couple of days, day by day, I started acing those marks, and I was one of the topper in the class. And this is one suggestion which I would give to anyone, that once if you start loving the subject, no matter if you hate the subject or not, you start acing in the subject, and you've got to make sure that you give your best in that. So I think, back to the Toastmasters.
Toastmaster Mahesh works in finance, and if he was despising math, I wonder what he's doing there. Anyways, so talking of things that we despise, the next person that's going to come on stage, I want them to describe the one invention that they despise. They wish that it never happened. Let me have Toastmaster Jacob on stage, please.
Table topic master, thank you for this wonderful topic. The one thing which I really feel they should not have invented is cars, automobiles, any type of auto rickshaws, motorbikes. These vehicles make life so miserable for you, anywhere, everywhere you want to go. Coming back to Bangalore. Bangalore was a place 30 years ago. I am proud to say I was living very close to this place, and it was very easy for me to cycle down Lavin Road, and I used to really love the wind in my face, the cool climate of Bangalore. Today I hate going out anywhere unless it's something very important like a Toastmasters meet. I would drive 15 to 20 minutes to reach this venue, but I'm happy to say I really enjoy speaking my mind, and I wish they hadn't invented cars or anything which contribute to traffic. Table topic master.
The next topic is going to be, we all play these games, never have I ever. But the next person is going to come in and say, never have I ever. But if I could, Toastmaster Akash.
Never have I ever traveled abroad, I guess. I would love to travel abroad. For many years, I've been dreaming of going to Italy actually, because the city of Rome is something that I've been dreaming of visiting. I'm a foodie, so Italy is famous for food as well. Pastas, ice creams, risottos, and all those things. So I would love to visit Italy someday, visit Rome. And apart from that, I also love Roman history. So Rome is filled with monuments from the Roman era. So it has been my dream to visit Rome, and in fact my cousin, he visited Rome just last month. And the first thing he did was take out his phone and video call me so that I could see everything from the Colosseum to the food he was eating, the pastas and the gelatos and all of that. So if I could, I would like to travel abroad. So far I haven't been able to, but it's something that I'm looking forward to doing in the near future, hopefully. Thank you.
All right, I think we are running out of time, so one last topic for the evening. So tell us, if we all heard winning is good. We also had one speech about winning. Winning is good, but is it always? To contemplate on this topic, let's have Toastmaster Vivek on stage. Winning is good, but is it always?
Right. It's always. We have been, delusional. No, you don't need to always win. You have to just participate. But it's been for a long time. Many years people have told me, oh, you have to just participate. One of my CEO in the last job told, I like experience, I like failures, etc. But Vivek, winning is what I need from you. He was right. That is what gets you. Okay? You have to win. You cannot say that. We have been told from the school everywhere that participation is important. But tell me, hey, you have participated very good. Did they come to you? No, the winner is the person who has been always credited. And that too, winner takes it all. You take it in anything. You take it in automobiles, you take it in even ceramics or biscuits or anything. The top one, winner, from the winner to the first topmost person to the second one, there's a huge gap. So winner takes it all. So let us all cultivate a habit of winning is a must. And at many point of time, we have to win. Don't be under delusion that we don't have to win. Then what happens? You will not win. So winning may not be everything, but we have to win. Don't get into all the self-help books that you don't need to win.
I certainly know I'm not winning the role taker of the day. With that, let me apologize to the people that I couldn't call on stage. I'm really sorry that we ran out of time. But with that, I hand over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pradeep, for keeping us all on our feet. And I learned quite a bit of impromptu speaking skills. That's theory. So when you come here on stage, it's all different. The third and the final segment of this evening's meeting is the general evaluation, which is led by the general evaluator. Today's general evaluator is a personal favorite Toastmaster of mine. He's been a Toastmaster for the last 7 years, a sales professional, a brilliant table topic speaker and an evaluator. He's involved with our club whenever we do work with children. He was the lead coordinator for 2 programs which we organized. One called Kalay for a government school and the recently concluded CLEAR program at St. Joseph's Indian Composite PU College. He's also a poet, and I've taken his permission to read one of his short poems. It says, one life, many worlds. One life, many worlds, 1,000 doors all around me. I stood there at the center. Each of them led to a different world, and each of them I wanted to enter. The world of ambition was a risky one. It ventured nowhere beyond the door. All I did was just stand there, wishing I could know some more. The world of brilliance beckoned at me. I was to just knock the door at the right place. I knocked here, I knocked there, but it stood still with all its grace. The much-used door to hard work opened, and I thought I could hold sway, but I found I had to build my own path, and my desire melted away. The door of treachery leered at me, promising pleasures unknown inside, and as I fought an unknown enemy, my conscience was my guide. Blindfolded, I entered the world of hope, a friend called luck by my side. It is foolish now that with each step I take, my heart swells with pride. He has written this back in 2011. Please join me to welcome Toastmaster Alok.
She mentioned that I wrote that one back in 2011. So I was wondering what I would be doing post that. But thanks, Anand. It feels nice to have one of my own points, right? Good evening, Toastmasters. Yes.
Good evening.
2 ears, one mouth for a reason. I've been trying to listen with both my ears, and I hope whatever comes out of my mouth makes sense this evening. The meeting started on time. We start off at 6:30 with Toastmaster Amrit Kaur being our sergeant at arms. It was really nice to see her speak. It was a very pleasant opening to the entire proceedings for the evening. The right amount of energy, the right amount of poise as she welcomed all of us to the meeting. And the introduction to the president was very well done up to a point. And after that, I felt it was a little convoluted. Maybe that's an area to work on. Maybe make it a little more brief.
Apart from that, I felt it was a job well done, Toastmaster Anand. Congratulations to you. Toastmaster Jose has been leading our club with grace both on and off this podium. Toastmaster Jose, I really enjoyed the story about Sabir Bhatia. It was true to what Toastmaster Amrit said, packed with a lot of facts and figures about how he went about selling the entire Hotmail to Bill Gates. Just a suggestion there. I felt the story, when you connected to the listening part, I was a little lost. The thinking part I could really connect with, the listening was a little lost. But where I really liked your entire speech today as the president was when you introduced Toastmaster Hannah. I felt that was extremely well done. There were no adjectives to flatter, but all reality, all that she's done for the club, and I felt that was one of the best introductions of a TMOD that I've seen in the recent past. So congratulations on something really well done. Toastmaster Hannah, you had us in some jitters when you turned up late, so I was almost about to tell Mr. Pradeep, Toastmaster Pradeep, that be prepared. You might be the first one to go on stage into the table topic session while our team turns up. But congratulations on arriving in time. It was a role well done with your characteristic introductions, characteristics between each role. The way that you stitched them together was well done. The introductions to all of us, again, very meticulously prepared. The only suggestion that I had was probably you were a little nervous because you were a little late, and I would have appreciated more if you had walked off the podium and done it a little more freely, with more elan. You were somehow stuck to the podium. You could have possibly moved out of it and done it, delivered the entire role. Apart from that, I think I missed Toastmaster Prakarsh there. Prakarsh, you've been growing strength to strength with each time you come on stage as the secretary. Well done. Keep that up. You were doing it without your notes today, so that was again another thing that I noticed. Well done. I've seen you in other venues. In our clear program as well. You've been growing as a speaker and as someone who takes up different roles. Keep that going. Congratulations on the role. Well done. The other role that I would talk about before moving to the speech evaluations is that of the table topic speaker. He was doing it for the first time. I really liked the energy that he brought on stage for the first time. Someone who's taken the stage for the first time. According to like you mentioned, a wacky topic. I felt your topics were wacky as well, allowing each speaker enough space to be creative while not being difficult, while the topic's not being difficult. So I think that was well done. My only suggestion to you is that I think there was a lot of filler time that you took between two speakers. If that was curtailed a little bit, you could have probably had a couple more speakers to come on stage, and that is the whole point of the table topics role. Again, I think the timings were not mentioned when you started off, so we were a little confused whether it was 1 minute or 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. Mentioning that again helped. That is my little bit of feedback there. Now we'll get into the evaluation of the speeches. The first speech was evaluated by Toastmaster Gangaadhar. So,
Dear Toastmasters, guests, and Toastmaster Srinivas, standing on the shoulders of the giant, or giants, was a very intriguing title. And it didn't stop there, it was further intriguing. Where's Priyanka? She's there, okay. It was further intriguing because then I realized, standing on the shoulders of Toastmaster Priyanka, Priyanka still wondering how to reach your height. But that was, you started off with a quote, and I was wondering what is coming out of the standing on the shoulders of the giant mentoring subject. I think you took the mentoring subject very well, in the sense that you could possibly go through a very book style, the regular book style of what is mentoring, how it's to be done, kind of stuff. But the way you did it was you brought out two Toastmasters who had a role to play in your life, in your Toastmastering, and rather than what you did, you analyzed those Toastmasters and how they were bringing out various things and how they advised you on the various aspects of coming on stage and speaking, and what kind of advice they were giving you. I liked your speech because it was laced on humor right through from office. You had people who were having a laugh, a chuckle kind of a thing, which is very, very important. And I saw that you were very comfortable while you were on stage. Because imagine a scenario where you had your hand in your hips. That all gives the body language and the comfort level that you come up with. Otherwise, you could have been very stiff talking about it also, which would not match with what you're trying to say. But I found it was very good, and you're doing that wonderfully. And some of the things that you spoke about, don't compare someone's ending with your beginning. You put that very well, and how you would like to, kind of take that forward. After Toastmaster Rashi dropped you, and you dropped him. Sorry, that's a tug of a slip. Just like the one that you saw, shoulder on your hands. But it happens, but when it comes with humor, it just gets disguised with humor. So there's no big deal, don't worry about that. And I have a suggestion for you when you're giving a speech from the point of appearance. You wore the stop button. If you wear that, I personally feel wear a tie. Otherwise, it's okay to leave it open. Because the button is basically when you wear a tie, or like you wear a neck bow. So that would be more hands plus, but it's okay. And of course, one thing I must tell, you tend to bend because of your height. Don't stand tall. The ceiling is still there, even with the ceiling, don't worry. But you're really good, humorous, and that is what takes you forward. And I look forward to more speeches from you. Good luck.
Thank you, Vijay, for the evaluation. One thing I noticed today was that all the gentlemen who gave the speeches were impeccably dressed in blazers and suited up. So that's really a great example to set for the rest of us who would follow. Unfortunately, he is not doing that. But that's something that I noticed today. Moving on, the second speech is being evaluated by someone who's been in the spotlight today for all the right reasons. Toastmaster Priyanka to evaluate.
Toastmasters.
Good evening.
And my target speaker, Toastmaster Before I give my evaluation, I would like to reiterate the purpose of the speech. The purpose of the speech is for the member to learn and review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. Dear target speaker, in my opinion, it was a great chosen topic for today's time. Because I believe in a time today where there's a lot of distraction, reinforcing a topic like this where imagination and knowledge is very important. That is one thing I would give you a thumbs up and kudos for that. Your speech title was Is Imagination Everything? My takeaway from your speech is no, it must be fluent with knowledge. With knowledge brings pragmatic approach towards ideating any idea. A well-structured speech backed with great examples, starting from foot in the street, from a transition to street goal, that was emphasized very well throughout your speech. You had a great story, and all had its own reasons and thoughts about how one should focus on imagination and knowledge. I have few suggestions or few recommendations, if I may, for making the speech from good to great. The first one would be, in my opinion, which needs a lot more attention, is a transition. It had 3 great stories, but the transition from all the three stories, I felt it was missing. So maybe a focus on any one story and elaborate this more on that. Second would be, I felt the conclusion was very short and sweet, but you could have had a lot of emphasize the conclusion, reiterating your importance of knowledge and imagination. And the third thing that I would probably suggest is, being a researching project, I would have looked forward for something about more statistics, more information, or a more backup with regard to credited resources or sources that could have added a little more life to the speech. In my opinion, probably if I would have presented this, I would have backed with a lot of statistics and credited sources about imagination speech. And there is a lot of research in psychology that works towards it. So it was a great topic to bring and bring about those kind of psychologists why we talk on this a lot. But overall, a great speech with a great topic for today's time. A little bit of attention for suggestion that I've given. It will take you from great to greatest. Wishing you all the best, and I'm so happy to see you after such a long time on the stage. And I'm looking forward for more speeches on the stage. All the best.
Thank you, Toastmaster for the evaluation. Toastmaster Vijay, it was wonderful to see you deliver the speech. It was extremely impactful, is what I felt. Evaluations and the speech were done. A round of applause to the speaker and the evaluator. Moving on to evaluate a landmark speech, we have Toastmaster Rashi evaluating Toastmaster Vishal.
Fellow Toastmasters, General Evaluator, and Vishal in particular. Today I'm not going to compare your ending with anybody's beginning or beginning. But today was the last speech of your pathway, and let's see how you did. There were three things which stood out in your reflection of your pathway, which I call the three I's. One was your intonation, and the way in which you modulated your voice was brilliant. You were clear, precise, and you went up, down, and I thought that was a brilliant part of your intonation. That was brilliantly done. The second was the interest which you maintained throughout the speech, the second I. It was very interesting, right from the time your dad bought you a bike till you came here and all the incidents about Robinson, sir, and that interest you maintained with a lot of nice incidents. So those incidents actually propped up the interest in the whole speech. So there was intonation, there was interest. And the third I which I loved about your speech was the insights. You had brilliant insights throughout your pathway. Like, okay, success shouldn't go into your head. You might win 3 times, and how those two voices spoke. So there was insight, there was intonation, there was interest. So that actually dwelled through your pathway. What do you have to improve? Where do you have to move to the next level? I call the 2 R's. The reflection. I thought you're talking about reflecting your pathway, but each level in your pathway wasn't reflected so well. What was that one thing? Might be about the mental level 2, might be about your voice modulation in level 3, might be about the mentoring in your level. What? So you would have gone a little more deeper. It seemed that you skimmed the surface, but you didn't reflect on it completely deeply. So might be a little more reflection. And the second R which I thought, which I would have added much more to your speech, was your revelation. I thought there was no aha moment at the end. What was that one revelation in this entire pathway which you did as dynamic leadership, which made you move to the next level? So there was a missing revelation. But however, Vishal, I want you to come on stage. Please come on stage. Just 1 minute if you can. Please. Come, please. I want to put my shoulder on your head. And okay, but I have a poem which I've dedicated to you as well as the general evaluator for writing 1,000 words, but mine is just 3 lines. So, the poem which I have for you. Today, Vishal, you took us through an insightful and interesting journey of your pathway. Just a little bit of reflection could have turned your drops of wisdom into a refreshing spray. But in BTMC, you are an upcoming giant who's here to stay. With that,
part that I always look forward to whenever he is the evaluator. But thank you, Toastmaster Anand, and congratulations, Toastmaster Vishal, on a part well done. I was almost thinking, should this speech be Wake Up Vishal on the lines of Wake Up Sleeping. But yeah, congratulations. A round of applause to Toastmaster Vishal and Toastmaster Rashi. Moving on, we have the tag team, and today we'll be doing it in the reverse. So first up we have the grammarian, Toastmaster Kenneth, for his group.
Sitting on my seat, I was contemplating how splendid today's meeting went. The good usage of English language outweighed the not so good. I commend everyone who came up here and painted rich pictures with your words, casting light on the thoughts and phrases that in my eyes stood out as exceptional. I like to highlight, to be relentless, persona, imagination comes in handy when knowledge ceases to help. Expanded with periphery, rudderless boat drifting in the ocean, engrossed in thoughts. Camaraderie shared is second to none. Sweat started to beat on my brow. Abysmal, elated, vision tunnel, nuance, devoid of everything happening around. Meticulously prepared, pragmatic approach in intonation and direction. Words and phrases that could have been expressed a little better include skeptical on taking stage, could have been skeptical on taking the stage. Mentor of Rashi sir, in the context, would have been a mentee of Rashi sir. Kept his shoulder on my hand, in the context, would have been kept his hand on my shoulder. I didn't win an award, would have been, I didn't win an award, could have been, I didn't win an award. Thinking too much in the forward, could have been, thinking too much about the future. The word of the day was used 6 times during the meeting, specifically by Toastmaster Srinivas, once by Srinivas, once by Toastmaster Richard Silvera, thrice by someone who made sure that I noticed, Toastmaster Srinivas, and once by Toastmaster Pradeep. With that being said, I hope you all have enjoyed.
Amazing use of the 2 years, wasn't it? Moving on, we have our concept of the day, Toastmaster Shiva.
Being an art worker, I think it's a revelation for me. Because generally in a speech, the filler words is something that I overlook. But today I was given a task to just observe. Right? So I felt, that people who have better prepared are using less filler words, while people think they were starting to use more filler words. That's something that I learned. So there were total 23 speakers. Out of that, 8 people did use any filler, and that is directly related to people who have been having experience. Right? So I would say 35% of people did use filler words. 14 people used less than 5 filler words, which is around 60%, which is good. It says that okay, there are a lot of people who are better prepared. And if one person used more than 5 filler words, which is around 5%. So that's it. Thank you.
30%, 65%, I was forming a pie chart in my head. Moving on, we have the time of the day. Toastmaster Arka.
Good evening once again. Good evening. So Vishal just texted me saying that please be quick because I need to sleep. I want to be quick. I'm happy to share that all the speakers were well within time, and we were able to maintain and we were able to strike the right balance between listening and speaking. Except for Toastmaster Akash, who just spoke for 50 seconds. So, thank you.
With that, I'm almost at the close of my allotted time role. It's a special mention of the PR efforts that go on in the club. I mean, as general evaluated, when I really started looking at the posts and the messages from the group, there are different posters for each set of roles. And what was even more interesting was to see the Instagram posts of the roles, each of them with a story. The one about Sachin Tendulkar is something that I particularly like this week. Keep that going. It's a lot of effort. I really hope that you get enough eyeballs for the efforts that you're putting in Toastmasters. Congratulations on that. With that, it's back to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Hannah.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alok, for that wonderful general evaluation and insightful feedback. And I'm sure that we'll all improve with your suggestions. The password for voting is 1456. It's on the group. And I thank you so much to the committee for giving an opportunity. And I pass it on to the President, Toastmaster Jose.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hannah. The password is 1456. While you're casting your votes, a few announcements. One is the election committee, as Toastmaster Anand said, has been sending some wonderful educative videos telling about the roles and how you can practically implement it in your life and improve upon yourself by taking up these roles in the committee. And if you wish to see any change in the club, I think this is the opportunity for you to do it by taking up roles in the club. That is the first thing that you can do, the best thing that you can do. And the second best thing that you can do is to come here and elect the right role takers to succeed this committee in the next term. I think that is the least that we can do for the club. And there should be no complaints from us if we are unable to do that. Right? So next week we have the elections. So request all of you to, without fail, please come here for the elections and cast your vote for the right person for the right role. And all those who are volunteering to take up roles in the club, the same request going again, please look at it definitely as something that will help you grow, but also as a service to the club, giving back to the club. I'm sure that with that you will also gain a lot of profit. We have two speakers who have completed their levels. In fact, one of them has completed his path too. Yeah, so here is some certificate of appreciation for that. I request Toastmasters Srinivas Vungarala, who completed level 2 of the path dynamic leadership. Then of course we have Toastmaster Vishal, who not only completes level 5 of the path dynamic leadership, but is also completing a path. He's a path breaker. Please join me the award for the best auxiliary role taker award. I think this role is gaining importance because, of course, it's one of the most important roles, critical roles in the tag team, that of the timer. And the best auxiliary role taker award goes to the timer Toastmaster award. Speaker Award, it's high time he gets it. Because there are people after banks or rather organizations after the person who is recruited, and there are Toastmasters after you, DTM Vijay, the best tabletop speaker. Evaluator Award. Well, he talked about the 3 eyes, and he is of course the eye of the club, the eyes of the club. The best evaluator award goes to our DTM. Best Role Taker Award. She came in late, but she made amends for it by doing a great job. Toastmaster Anand. The Best Speaker Award. Well, he can go speak after this. And he completed a path, and today is a great day for him. Toastmaster Vishal.
He won't lose sleep now.
I request all the winners to please come with your certificates for a group photograph. Dear Toastmasters and guests, snacks are being served. I request the guests to please collect your snacks and join Toastmaster Vishal outside for a briefing on Toastmasters and how to enroll and other details, the queries that you may have. And members, please stay back and network with the snacks. Thank you.